What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be installing the SE Project GP22. But with the GP22, I'm going to be installing Gabbro's velocity stacks with the air filter, the app map with Gabbro's map, and I'm going to be removing the servo. I don't want to make this video too long. For that reason, I'm going to separate this video into 4 parts. Part 1 will be installing GP22 right now. Part 2, velocity stacks with air filter. Part 3, installing app map with Gabbro's map. And part 4 will be to remove the servo motor. Once I complete all the installations, I'm going to be doing 2 more videos. One will be to dyno the bike again to see how much horsepower it will produce after all these mods, since I already know it produced 191 stock. And I'm going to be doing some sound comparisons with the stock exhaust and the GP22, some stationary revs and flybys. I've already recorded the videos with the stock exhaust. Here's a preview. Sounds pretty crazy for stock, right? I know. So let's go ahead and see what you're going to be needing for this install. You will need obviously a ratchet, an extension for the ratchet so you can reach inside there to release the screw that holds the pipes together. For that, you're going to need a 13mm socket. Now for the pegs, you will need a 6mm hex for the 2 screws here and 1 screw here, but behind it there's one more that is a 13mm socket. So you will need a 13mm socket, and you will need a 10mm socket because the GP22 uses a 10mm. Now also what I'm going to be using is some anti-seize where the pipes link. That way I can remove them whenever I want easier, and then I'm gonna seize together. I'm gonna use some blue Loctite for the pegs when I insert them back again, and I have some isopropyl alcohol to clean the exhaust since it's titanium. You don't want to ruin it. And of course I have with me the impact wrench because I don't have a breaker bar with me, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to release these with just the ratchet. And last but not least, of course, you're going to be needing the GP22. Also, I want to give a shout out to CBC Motorsports for providing me this exhaust. All right, so the first thing I'm going to be removing is these 2 6mm hex screws at the foot peg. I'm gonna start with these by loosening them. Why? Because if these cannot be removed or if these get stripped, then it would be pointless for me to remove the entire exhaust and not be able to remove the foot peg, because without this, if I cannot remove the foot peg, I cannot install the GP22. So knowing Aprilia, they usually use a lot of red Loctite, which makes it really difficult to unscrew. So I noticed that I put a certain amount of pressure and it doesn't come loose. So normally what you would do is you would need a breaker bar, but even with a breaker bar, I've seen this getting stripped. So for that reason, I'm going to use the impact wrench, only so I can break them loose a little bit before I remove them. Well, look at this. Of course, red Loctite. Guys, be careful when you remove these. Fortunately, I have an impact wrench. I'm almost positive I would have stripped these screws if I didn't have an impact wrench, so be careful with these. I'm gonna screw it back in place for now so I can start removing the exhaust. All right, next step is to remove that 13mm in there to release the clamp. I'm gonna use 13mm with an extension. Okay, this is loose enough. No struggle for this, and the clamp is loose. There you go. That's all it took. All right. Okay, next step, I'm gonna use a 10mm wrench to loosen this and this here for the servo cables. They're pretty loose already. What I'm gonna do is remove this first so I can create space. There you go. I can't really see here in the back, so I can release these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to release the exhaust from the peg, remove the exhaust, and then release the cables. So to remove the exhaust here from the peg, from the foot peg, you're gonna need a 6mm hex, and from behind you're gonna need a 13mm, either socket or a wrench. So in my case I'm gonna use a 13mm wrench to hold it in place, and from the front I'm gonna use a 6mm hex. That was quick and easy. There's the nut, a 13mm. That was a spacer, the peg, another spacer, a screw. Okay, now that everything is loose except these cables, I'm just gonna wiggle the exhaust out a little bit. This is exactly why I want to use anti-seize on the GP22, because right now the two pipes are seized together and they can't even come off. So no matter how much I pull it, it doesn't come off. So I'm gonna give it a few wiggles. Okay, so while I'm wiggling the exhaust, the foot peg is in the way. So what I'm going to be doing is I will remove the foot peg completely, so I have more room and space to wiggle the exhaust out. So for this, I'm gonna use a 6mm. Okay, this took about a minute to remove. See, I don't really see red Loctite in, so it was easier to remove. But still about a minute worth of effort. Let's go for the second one. All right, a little bit over a minute for this screw too. These two screws were a workout to remove. All right, let's see now if I'm gonna have more space to wiggle this exhaust off. All right. I think the most difficult part of this job was to actually remove the stock pipe. I'm literally sweating. All right, now we can remove these servo cables. One came off on its own. All right, this servo cable is out too. I don't know why. The second one did not want to come off, but we're all good now. Stock exhaust is out. What I'm going to be doing too is I'm going to weigh this exhaust. I'm gonna weigh the pegs. I'm gonna weigh everything in the end to see how much weight we're saving. All right, now you're gonna remove the stock clamp that came with it. I'm going to be replacing it with the one that comes with the GP22 that's titanium. Now next step is to remove the foot peg completely and install this under the foot peg and then reinstall the foot peg above. All right, again, gonna get the 6mm hex to remove the peg. All right, now we're gonna hold the peg up, don't drop it, and I'm going to look at all this red Loctite. All right, we'll insert this here. And the screws from above. One, two. Okay, I'm not gonna tie them completely yet, just in case we have to realign the bracket to the GP22 exhaust. So they're tight enough for now. So let's go ahead and install the GP22. All right, before you install the exhaust, remove this 10mm screw from here that goes on the bracket. Okay, keep this in the side. I'm going to put some anti-seize. Okay, this is nickel anti-seize because you need nickel. Anything else can burn up. This is meant for really high temperatures. So anything for exhaust pipes, you need this. Okay, now that you place the anti-seize, you're gonna place the bracket on top of it, over there, and place the exhaust side, and then twist it so it aligns with this. So first we're going to place this screw here, and then we're going to tighten the clamp. Okay, so for this screw, it's also titanium. I'm going to be using some blue Loctite. Just a bit. All right. I'm going to use the extension so I don't scratch the exhaust. I use a 10mm for this too, for the clamp. There, and then tighten this too. In place. All right. All right, guys, install is complete. What a difference. Wow, this looks so much more beautiful than the stock exhaust. I really want to start it, but I won't. What I want to do is first, I want to install the app map first before I start it, because I've heard some crazy weird stories of people starting their exhaust before installing the app map and getting some check engine lights or burning fuses and stuff. I don't know if that's the case, but I'm not willing to find out, so I'm not going to start it yet, even though I really want to. What I'm going to do is go ahead and install the app map, and then I'm going to start it. Alright guys, thank you for watching. Stay tuned for the next series of videos. App map, velocity stacks, servo, flybys, sound comparisons. In the meantime, make sure you hit that like button, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.